welcome to this special episode of Whiskey and SV in Tokyo. We are in my favorite bar here in Roppongi, Rigoletto's Bar and Grill, and it is in the Mori Roppongi Hills Tower. And I have here with me a flight of the Yamazaki age-stated. So actually, the first one is the regular Yamazaki, so it's not age-stated. And then we have the 12-year in this middle one, and then we have the 18-year here. I was earlier going to do a blind of these, but I realized, blinds can be too complicated for such a loud setting. So I'm just going to focus on giving some tasting notes and my first impressions about these whiskeys before I have dinner here with my beautiful wife, Layli. Speaking of Layli, she doesn't want to be in the episode as usual, but she's graciously accepted to film the video for me. So, all right. So let's get started. I'm going to first try the 100th anniversary regular Yamazaki. So on the nose, it's kind of muted, to be honest. I'm going to go nosing first before I do tasting. Next, we have the 12-year Yamazaki. Yeah, very similar. I would not say there's a big difference in the nose of these two whiskeys. By the way, price-wise, this is around 1,000 yen. This is around 2,500 yen, and this is 55,000 yen. So we'll see the difference. And oh wow, we just got my favorite burger here, which is the Rigoletto's burger, which I used to have when I lived and worked in Tokyo. So I'll be very excited to have the burger after I've done my quick tasting. Okay, cool. So, by the way, as you can see, we have the Tokyo Tower in the background. And yeah, this is a really an amazing bar. And if you ever have a chance to come to Tokyo, I thoroughly suggest that you come to this bar and you check it out. Today, they've of course allowed me to film here, so I'm really, really excited to try these special whiskeys alongside my beautiful wife and my favorite burger. So, all right, let's get into it again. Again, I think so far there's not a lot of difference between the first two. Let's go for the 18 and see what the nose is like. Straight away, it's much more concentrated aromas. There's a lot more of a sherry note to this. It's visibly darker than the other two. In fact, significantly darker than the other two. These two are somewhat the same in terms of color and hue, but the 18 is significantly darker. And so the aromas are, usually it's very much a lot of like apples and pears, orchard type fruits. Quite a bit of the sherry notes coming through on this one. Some oak as well. There is some molasses kind of note on this as well, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. I would say, yeah, between the non-age stated and the 12-year, there's not a whole lot of difference, but the 18 really stands out. Now, there's a big difference in price, so let's go for the palate and see if we can really see the difference in the palate as well. So I'm going to start by the regular non-age stated first. That's very nice. It does feel a little bit youthful, to be honest. I don't know how old it is. It's they don't have an age stated one. If I was to guess, I would say it's probably between 7 or 8-year-old whiskey. It's very nice, but past the apples and the pears and the orchard fruits and the maltiness, there's a little bit of a youthfulness to it. Next, we'll try the 12-year. A lot more maltiness here. Less useful. There's some pepper in there as well. The pepper kind of lingers a little bit, actually. It's quite sweet and lots of like fruitiness. Yeah, it reminds me of more like green fruits, like green apples, pears, that kind of thing. Okay, so finally, let's go for the 18-year. Yeah, very distinct on the nose for sure. Much more oaky. Oh wow. The flavors are just much stronger in this, and it lingers way more. Um, the oak is significantly more present. It's not a bitter oak, but it is a little bit mouth drying, and there's a lot of sherry aftertaste. So it's definitely much more strongly sherry than the other two. I believe they all have some sherry maturation, but it's just much stronger sherry notes in this one. Oh yeah, that's really good. Um, so what is the final verdict? You might ask. I think between the 12-year and the non-age stated, there's definitely a difference, but it's not big enough that I would want to pay more than twice as much for the 12-year. So, if I'm thinking purely from a value perspective, then the non-age stated is definitely the one to go with. Especially in the U.S., I think the 12-year is now worth $200. It's $180 plus tax. So now, what about the 18-year? Now, I think it's definitely a significantly better whiskey and much nicer. However, um, it is $600 plus tax if you find it, and it's really hard to find. So mostly, if you want to buy it, you got to buy it in secondary, and you're paying between $800 to $1,000 for one bottle of this stuff. Is it that good? Honestly, I don't think any whiskey is worth that price. Um, I'm glad to try it once. I'm glad that I have a bottle of it. Um, I'm not sure if it's something that I could really recommend, unless if you're a total whiskey nerd and you must try everything. So, yes, it is a great whiskey, but I really don't think any whiskey is worth that much. Let me try one more time. Then. Oh, that is really good. That's up there with one of the best whiskeys I've ever tried. So I would say there's definitely something to be said for the quality. And given that it's only 43%, you would never know it. I think it really drinks more like a 46%er. Now, I also own the special edition Yamazaki Mizunara 18-year, the 100th anniversary one. And that one, MSRP on it is like, I think, $1,500. And but it's already selling in secondary for 2,500 plus. Now, the question is, will I ever open that? And the answer is probably no time soon, unless if I win the lottery. So, um, but yeah. So, okay, I think Layli is getting bored now, so I'm going to try to wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining me. I am. We are having a great time in Tokyo, and we always love coming here. It's always like a second home to us. It used to be our home for more than 3 years, and we plan to come here more often going forward. We didn't visit for a very long time, and I really hope that this bar continues to be here in the same way. We had many good memories here with many good friends, and we'd like to continue having many more good memories here with more friends, including some of the old ones, but maybe also make some new ones. So thanks for tuning in, and join me next time when I'll be back and hopefully making you some quality content. See you next time.